Well, this should be a really fun discussion. It's about food, right? Who doesn't like food? It's about shopping. Who doesn't like shopping? Okay. And this is probably going to be a pretty long video because I have a lot of stories to tell you. I want to keep it under 10 minutes nonetheless, all right? So as you know by now, I've lived in China for many years, over two, almost three. I lived in Malaysia for 2 years. So in the last 5 years, I've been out of the country most of the time, either in Malaysia or China or Taiwan or Hong Kong, all right? All those countries are kind of linked together one way or another. So let me tell you a little bit about Walmart in China, right? So where I lived in a city of 12 million people, okay? And I could walk to the Walmart. This is a very interesting Walmart. It looked like Walmart. It had the same kind of signs, the logos, the blue and yellow and everything. And it's 2 stories tall, all right? It's in a shopping mall. So you could either go in on the first floor of the mall or on the second floor of the mall. If you went in on the second floor of the mall, it's pretty normal looking, all right, and smelled normal. It smelled like a Walmart, all right. And there's clothing and thousands of different kinds of cheap clothing and furniture and cooking ware and all that, cosmetics and soaps, all that kind of stuff. Pretty normal, except all the labeling was in Chinese, all right. Downstairs though, on the first floor where you walked in, it didn't smell like Walmart, okay. It smelled like food, okay, and Chinese people are really big into takeout, carry out food, all right? So the downstairs part of the Walmart, they were cooking. All these little cooking stations, like cooking food for carry out. There's no place to sit down and eat it. So you bought this freshly cooked food and carried it out. So let me tell you about some of the food, all right? So unlike any Walmart you've ever been in the United States, if you went to the meat counter, you could choose from pigs' heads hanging down. The whole head of a pig would be just hanging there. You could ask them to cut that up for you, okay? Or whole ducks, right? Or dried ducks' heads or dried ducks' beaks, all right? You had all these choices. You could also get chicken feet. You could get 2 kinds of chicken feet, spicy or plain, all right? And they'd cook them for you, or you could take them home raw and cook them yourself, right? Chicken feet's a huge delicacy in China. I mean, these are chicken's feet, right? Okay, think about that. Then they also had tank after tank of fresh fish. I mean, tanks and tanks of them, all right? They had eels and rays, those big flat things, right? And all kinds of crabs, and I wouldn't call them lobsters, but they had crawfish. You all know what crawfish is from Louisiana, and we have them here in North Carolina too. They live in the creeks, they have little claws. They look like miniature lobsters, okay? So, and then Chinese people also like to snack a lot. So there's tons of snacks out unwrapped, okay, piles of, I think it's mostly fish, which gave a dried fish, salted dried fish maybe, different flavors, different, I don't know what, all right, and piles of it out in the open, okay. So totally unlike any other Walmart you've ever been to. It was fun for me. I like beer, and they had huge variety of beer, canned beer, right, and bottled beer too. And one of the really funny things is Pat's Blue Ribbon, all right. And you hardly see that in the United States. It's really popular in China. Go figure. And it comes in a can that looks like a Pat's Blue Ribbon can. It says PBR on it, but all the labeling's in Chinese. Okay. And there's a red can and a blue can, and one is less alcohol than the other. So 2 varieties of Pat's PBR. Okay, they're both delicious and both dirt cheap. All right. So it's really dramatically different experience of the Walmart. Right. Then I could walk down certain streets, we call them restaurant streets, all right, and some of them be devoted to certain kinds of food. And there was one street that was devoted to crawfish, okay, and be outside the restaurants, be just tanks and tanks filled with fresh water running through them and running out to the curb, okay, and all these just crawfish crawling in there, right, and you just order, I don't know, a bucket full of crawfish, right, whatever, that kind of thing. Another delicacy in China was bamboo. You've all seen bamboo. Well, they chop it up and fry it and cook it and boil it, do all kinds of things like that, all right? And then a couple other fun things. Kentucky Fried Chicken was the first and most popular franchise to come to China. It went there many years ago. So every now and then I'd try to go into the Kentucky Fried Chicken, but I couldn't understand the menu. It was all in Chinese. I was afraid of what I was going to get. All right, and so you could see the chicken and the mashed potatoes, but they don't do coleslaw, all right? And they just did tons of other kind of stuff, right? And I did bowls with rice and stuff in it. All right, so totally different menu. It still looked like Kentucky Fried Chicken, but a completely different kind of menu, which I couldn't figure out. Okay, I could figure out the McDonald's menu pretty safely. All right, cheese, fish sandwich with cheese, pretty common, right? And or spicy chicken and fries. Of course, McDonald's fries are good around the world, right? But it's kind of funny, when McDonald's went to China, they couldn't get the potatoes that they needed to make their signature fries, so they had to teach Chinese farmers how to grow McDonald's potatoes. It's a totally new thing for them, okay? They didn't have those kinds of potatoes, so McDonald's had to bring over the seed, potatoes, that kind of thing, and teach the farmers how to do that. And the menu there, too, also had rice bowls and strange drinks and all kinds of stuff you absolutely could not figure out. Pizza Hut, oh my God. So there's a fruit and there's a fruit in Malaysia, and that's about the only place in the world it's grown, and it's called durian, D-U-R-I-A-N. It's big, fat, spiky kind of a fruit. And you cut it open, it's really creamy, and this very soft flesh on the inside that just stinks to the high heaven. It stinks so bad, okay, that all the hotels have big signs up front, not big signs, but you know how they have no smoking signs the next? They have the same thing with durian fruit. You cannot bring durian into our hotel because it stinks up the room, all right? So no eating of durian in the hotels. Well, the Chinese love durians. They import it from Malaysia, and it's every place you look. All the street stalls have it and everything. At Pizza Hut, you cannot get a pizza without durian on it, okay? It's the go-to ingredient on a pizza. It's really, oh my God, you know. And when you cook it like that, it doesn't stink so bad. It's actually pretty tasty, but it takes a lot of getting used to, okay? And then the other funny thing in China about pizza is you could not order a pizza anywhere, Pizza Hut or any little street vendors, anything. They didn't have barbecue sauce on it, you know, Kraft's barbecue sauce. Just couldn't tell them, don't put any barbecue sauce in my pizza, all right? So Hong Kong. Okay, if you really like Rocky Mountain oysters, Hong Kong is your place, okay? You could walk down certain streets. They had fresh markets, they're called, and all the meat's hanging out there in the street, right? And you could get a variety of different kinds of testicles, and they're all just hanging there. Big ones, smaller ones. Had no idea what kind of animals these were from, all right? And then in Malaysia is a real foodie country, all right? They're really into their food. And so I think you've all had satay, S-A-T-A-Y. I know some great Thai restaurants in Fort Wayne. And satay is meat on a skewer, usually chicken or beef on a skewer, and you serve it with peanut sauce, okay? Well, in Malaysia, you could get a much bigger variety of satay. And one of my favorites, I didn't quite know what I was eating at first. I think my hosts kind of were fooling with me. But you can get innards, you know, kidneys and intestines, and what else is there? Liver, all right, and heart, all on a satay skewer. And actually, it's quite good, okay? But it's, you know, it's the same stuff when you buy a whole chicken, you know, at the supermarket. You reach in there, you pull that plastic bag out. Well, this is what they make satay out of in Malaysia. They make other stuff, too. So, but what I'm getting at is it's very important not to make fun of other people's foods. Let's see, I'm up to 7.5 minutes. Almost 8. Got some other stuff I want to talk about. It's very important not to make fun of other people's foods. Okay, very, very important. And many countries have suffered famines, huge famines, for a variety of reasons, some of which are just mismanagement and some of which is bad luck, all right? And in the 50s, 21 million Chinese starved to death. That's a lot of people dead, okay, from a famine, all right? So one of the things that happened is they learned to eat everything, okay? They ate everything, all right? So they, you know, food is very serious among many cultures for a very, very variety of reasons. So that's food. So don't make fun of other people's eating habits. And if you're out in other countries or business environments, stay calm, all right? Stay calm, stay appreciative, right? Actually, in China, and you don't have to do this, okay? You don't have to imitate your host, but I've seen Chinese men take a whole crab, you know, crab about this big with the claws and everything, and the hard shell, and pick it up like a Big Mac and eat the whole thing, shell and all, okay? But you don't have to imitate that. Don't do that if you don't want to, okay? It's very polite if you're in Asia to learn how to use chopsticks. It's not impossible. It's really, really polite thing to do. And I'm pretty clumsy, but I became fairly adept at chopsticks, and my hosts always loved that. You know, they'd always get me forks. Say, no, I'm fine. Don't need a fork. You know, chopsticks, right? Okay, so then this leads me to one final comment. Packaging is very, very interesting. And those of you who go on to your MBA and that kind of thing might well study marketing and advertising. And packaging of food products is an integral component of international brands, all right? So when Oreo cookie first went to Malaysia, they didn't have any impact at all. Couldn't do it. You know, who doesn't love Oreo cookies, right? Well, the problem in Malaysia was nobody knew about milk, all right? Malaysia is not a milk-drinking country because it's so hot, all right? And until better refrigeration came along, they couldn't do milk, even ice cream. They could do ice cream because they can pour it and you could keep it in ice for a while, but milk just spoiled instantly, and they don't have a lot of cows. So they had to teach people how to drink milk and preserve it and then how to dunk it. Okay, people didn't know about dunking Oreo cookies into milk. So once they got that done, it took off. China's different, all right? Chinese people are very into different shapes, right? And the round cookie thing, well, shapes have different meanings in cultures. That could be a whole different chapter, all right? Shapes have meaning. Colors have meaning, all right, in different cultures, all right? So the round cookie wasn't something Chinese were used to. What they were really used to were snacks that were shaped like sticks, snacks shaped like this, okay? So Oreo had to rethink the way they didn't have to think the formula again, okay? People liked the taste, but they just weren't used to buying that, all right? So they had to rethink the packaging. They started making Oreo cookies as wafers. Have you ever seen a box of Oreo wafers, right? Or Oreo sticks, okay? That's what they had to do to break into the market with Oreo cookies. And the other thing they had to do is they had to make smaller packaging. At the time when Oreo first went in, majority of the population was fairly poor, not anymore, okay? But they needed smaller packages so that Chinese people could buy the cookies as a snack. Just spend a little bit of money and get a little bit of a snack, instead of a whole bag to bring home, that kind of thing. Okay, I went over 10 minutes. I hope this is interesting. I think I've done everything on my note card, so I'm looking forward to your replies too.